In summary, over 5,000 days have passed since my life was completely upended, and I am still amazed at how far I've come. If you put in the effort, life can look pretty great on the other side of hardship. I haven't had any contact with my ex-husband since September 2020, but I know he still follows me on Instagram and watches all my stories. I've considered blocking him, but part of me wants him to see the full life I'm living now. He and his affair partner did get married after having a child together, and I believe they had another. However, they both lost their teaching jobs and had to move far away. Last I heard, the affair partner was sending unhinged texts to my ex-husband's former best friend about not being included in social events. But enough about them. When we last left off, I had just moved to a new city, Richmond, Virginia, which was the best decision I made for myself. The change of scenery and living in a vibrant city with walkable amenities did wonders for my mental health, as much as therapy did. I bought a house here a couple of years ago and have really settled in. Then I got my puppy, a corgi named Bilbo Baggins, who is the true love of my life. He brings me so much joy, and we have a great routine going to the local dog park with a bar. I don't plan on having children, so he is basically my son. It hasn't all been perfect. My father passed away, my best friend moved across the country, and I haven't been dating much in recent years. Dating hasn't been a priority, and while my friends say I'm too picky, I know it's worth holding out for the right person after being in a marriage with someone who may have loved me but didn't like me. Although I'm single, my life is full and busy. For my upcoming birthday, I'll be in Paris seeing Lady Gaga in concert. This year alone, I've traveled to see incredible live music: Sabrina Carpenter in Amsterdam, Taylor Swift in Lyon, Bruce Springsteen in Edinburgh, and Noah Kahan at Fenway Park. I also visited Katmai National Park to observe brown bears and am part of a Dungeons & Dragons group. I'm surrounded by a wonderful community of people I love. I wouldn't be in this positive place mentally if I hadn't gone to therapy to understand why I settled for my ex-husband in the first place. In one telling example, while planning our honeymoon in New Zealand, I had to plan the entire trip even though it was his chosen location. He refused to drive, so we had to take a guided tour on specific baits. He pretended to be unable to take a day off of work until I was in tears begging him to ask his boss, only for him to admit he always had the day off but wanted to make sure I put in effort to book good flights. I had to unpack a lot in therapy to understand why I married someone like that. But I'm grateful I did the work because it allowed me to build this fulfilling life for myself. What happened ultimately led me to a happier existence than I had been living, as painful as the experience was. If you're going through something terrible, unfair, and world-shattering, please know it's not forever. It took a lot of effort to climb out of that dark mental place. There were times I slid back, but by focusing ahead and figuring myself out, I eventually emerged on the other side. I believe you can too, because you're worth fighting for. In summary, I went to therapy, rebuilt my life, my ex-husband stalks my Instagram, and maybe we should all get dogs for our mental health. In summary, my boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 years, and he has always been amazing. But on Halloween, he stood me up and cannot explain why. I want to forgive him, but I am still so upset. We both had different events to go to first, but we agreed that we would meet up later at a club, which is something we had discussed all week. I knew he was a friend, so I told him he could invite them, but that regardless of what his friends were doing, we were going to go out. I texted around 9 p.m. that I was ready, and he replied saying he was picking up his friends and would meet me at the club. I told him it was a 20-minute walk from me, so he should let me know when he was heading out. I did not hear back from him until 11:40 p.m. when he texted saying he was finally on his way. By then, I would have gotten there around midnight, and I was not comfortable walking through downtown that late. Plus, he and his friend ended up not even going in because the lines were too long. So basically, I spent hours doing intricate makeup and dressing up, all so that I could be stood up by my own boyfriend. What made it even worse was that the next day was Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, celebrate the dead, which was really important to me, as I am Latina, and I just lost my grandpa. My boyfriend was supposed to help me set up my grandpa's shrine and make food, but he completely forgot. He came over with gifts to apologize, but his only explanation was, "I am sorry, I do not know what happened." When I asked if he thought it was okay for a woman to walk alone downtown that late, he lied and said he would have gotten me an Uber, but nowhere in his messages did he mention that.
He also tried to play it off as miscommunication when it was really just a lack of communication on his part. I told him I needed space and sent him home. Later, when he apologized again, he kept saying that thinking about what he did makes him upset and sick. Normally, I appreciate when he expresses his feelings, but I told him that in this case, I truly did not care how he felt because I was the one who was wronged and upset. I do not know if that was too harsh, but I genuinely do not understand how him being nauseous was supposed to help me feel any better. The next day, after some pushing, he said he has been emotionally checked out because of how stressful his doctorate program has been and that he forgets things easily when they are not in front of him. I do not really know what to make of that. He has always been supportive and kind before this, especially when my grandpa passed. I do not think he is cheating, which I know is always possible, but cheating is one of his biggest fears, so I doubt this is the case. This whole situation is not typical for him, but his explanation feels weak and I'm not sure how to move forward. I want to forgive him, but I also feel really hurt and disappointed. How would you handle something like this? Should I try to talk to him again or just give him more space?
Hi Reddit. Like the title says, I, a 31-year-old female, want to divorce my husband, a 32-year-old male, but I'm afraid I may be acting too quickly. For context, we've been together for 12 years, married for 3. He's always had a strong temper, and frankly, my parents never fully approved of our relationship because of it. I'm the complete opposite, shy, eternally optimistic, a little too nice. My husband says I'm a pushover. Anyway, while we dated, he would often be rude to me, but his excuse was that he was stressed out from college, or he was tired, or he had something else going on, and I believed him. Fast forward to our first year of marriage, and I found out the hard way that it wasn't college or any of that. It was just his actual personality. He hates talking about anything. We never talk about money, which is outrageous to me because we're married. I can't talk to him about family drama because it annoys him. Can't talk about my feelings because he'll get mad, insult me, and walk away. He's not only rude to me now, but to my parents too. Despite the fact that they've given us a house, a piece of land, helped us get out of a debt, etc., and I could not be more embarrassed. Mostly, I feel stupid. My parents warned me again and again. My dad especially, because he noticed early on how different we were. But my husband always said opposites attract. It sounds kind of stupid now, and he wasn't as mean then as he is now. In fact, he got along great with my parents back then. He even got them gifts and things. Now, he's moody all the time, but even more so when we go over to their house. He won't even engage in conversation. All he does is look down at his phone the entire time. It honestly feels like he doesn't care about being part of the family. Whenever someone tries to give him advice, he doesn't take it well, like he's smarter than everyone else and there's nothing you can say to him that he doesn't already know. The few times we do talk, we end up arguing because everything I say is always wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm ignorant. Mind you, we both have college degrees. All in all, I'm just so disappointed and embarrassed by the kind of person he is. By the way, he's not like that around his friends. I brought up the possibility of getting a divorce during an argument and he's been nicer to me ever since. But I've seen this side of him before. He's promised to change in the past and has said that he can't live without me. This is the only time I've truly seen him so remorseful though. In summary, am I being too rash in suggesting to my husband that we divorce because of how he treats me? Should I give him another chance?
I have been seeing a 35-year-old man for about 4 months now. He's divorced and has a young daughter. When we first started talking, he shared that his marriage ended because of his ex-wife's accusations, claiming she was a narcissist. At first, I believed him, trusting his version of events. Recently, I found the details of their divorce case online, and while it largely confirmed what he had told me, there were some disturbing elements that I hadn't been prepared for. Among the details were mentions of a stay in the intensive care unit, which she had mentioned, but also instances of seizures due to alcohol use. There were claims of hidden bottles around the house, suggesting a more severe level of addiction than I had anticipated. Most concerning was the ex-wife's assertion that he wasn't safe to be around their child. which prompted the custody battle. Despite these revelations, he maintains that these details were exaggerated and that the judge ruled in favor of equal custody, which, according to my research, is true. However, I find myself torn. Part of me wants to believe that he's genuinely on the path to recovery, yet another part of me fears that he still struggles with alcohol or minimizes its impact on his life. We sometimes smoke cannabis together, and from all appearances, he seems to have it together: a steady job, a dedicated father, and all around responsible. But there's this nagging feeling deep within me that I might be overlooking something crucial. I'm struggling with the situation because I don't want to judge him unfairly or based on old accusations. Yet, I also can't ignore what feels like red flags. How can I approach this conversation with honesty and respect? I want to understand his perspective and probe gently without coming across as accusatory or controlling. The case revealed aspects of his past that have left me questioning, and I'm trying to find a balance between trust and caution. I'm really at a loss on how to navigate this delicate situation. I, a 27-year-old female, come from a conservative religious background. I live abroad now, but recently something happened that completely broke my relationship with my mom, a 55-year-old female. I gave her my old phone because hers stopped working. Before giving it away, I deleted WhatsApp, thinking all my private conversations were gone. Unfortunately, when she reinstalled it, all my old chats were restored, including some very personal messages and flirtatious conversations. When she saw them, she was devastated and furious. She said I had brought shame, that I was no longer her daughter, and that she regretted giving birth to me. She blocked me, then unblocked me just to say hurtful things like calling me names. She even told me not to tell my relatives that we do not talk anymore, or she would show them everything so they would know the truth about me. This is not the first time something like this has happened. She had warned me that if it happened again, she would cut me off. And this time, she did. I feel destroyed inside. I keep blaming myself, but at the same time, I feel like her reaction is too extreme. I know what I did is not acceptable in her eyes, but it hurts to lose my mom like this. I am far from home, I feel ashamed and empty, and I do not know how to move forward. For context, these messages were related to my active sexual life, so she's hurting for knowing that I am sexually active. In summary, my mom, a 55-year-old female, found out about parts of my private life that go against our religious background, feels deeply betrayed, and refuses to forgive me. I, a 27-year-old female, love her, but do not know if I should try to contact her again or let her go. Almost every time I leave the house, my boyfriend says something like, "Have fun on your date." Sometimes he will even text it to me after I have gone. There is absolutely no reason for him to think I would be seeing anyone else. Nothing has ever happened that would make him suspicious. He just says these things out of nowhere. I find that really disrespectful and gross. I have never cheated, never given him a reason to doubt me, and I do not even have anyone else in my life I could go on a date with. We have lived together almost the entire year we have been dating. He did not used to say things like this, but now he is constantly making passive-aggressive comments if I am on my phone. Like, if you want to talk to someone else, just do it. You do not have to hide that you're talking to another guy. I have told him many times how offensive and damaging these comments are, but he doesn't care. He seems to truly believe that what he is doing is somehow harmless. I feel my respect for him slipping every time he does it. I'm honestly at the point where if we did not live together, I would already have broken up with him. Unfortunately, it is not going to be easy to separate from him at this point or for a while due to financial reasons. How should I handle this behavior when he refuses to take it seriously? Also, how can I articulate the reason why this feels so gross? I am struggling to find the words. In summary, my boyfriend keeps making sarcastic comments like, "Have fun on your date," whenever I leave the house, even though I have never given him any reason to distrust me. I have told him it is disrespectful, but he doesn't stop. What should I do?
In summary, my husband proposed to me in the same exact way, word for word, location, and so on, as he did with his previous relationship. How do I get over this? I, a 33-year-old female, just found out that my husband, a 35-year-old male of 7 years, proposed to me in the same exact way as he proposed to his ex-wife. Same day, Christmas Eve, same exact location, and used the same speech. Thankfully, he did not use the same ring too. It is not a situation where he was not over the ex. I truly think it is just a pure lack of originality or imagination. I do not know if I'm being dramatic, but I am hurt and sick over this. I have cried non-stop. I cannot look at him or even talk to him. I gave him the ring back and told him to do it over and make it special. I wanted my own. But honestly, if he does, I do not know if that would make me feel better. How do I move past this? This is not something I would leave him over, but it is something that has definitely hurt our relationship. Any suggestions on how to work through this?